All right, welcome back, everyone, here at the Unrestrained Podcast. We're here at the Institute of Latino Conservative Studies. Here, really holding down the fort, man. This looks like everybody's confused that today is not Monday, it's Tuesday. So today it's just myself, Isaac Galvez, and Alfred. Go ahead, Alfred.
What's up, everyone? Welcome. As Isaac said, man, we're gonna hold up the fort. There's just a lot to talk about, bro. So much stuff to talk about, and we're just gonna do our best, and we're gonna rock it, bro. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet at work today. Not sure what's going on. Could be a slowing economy, but I actually had some time to do some read some articles and look some things up with plenty of time. Normally, I come in here like I mentioned it on the last podcast. I just kind of cram news like 15 minutes before we even start. But yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and hit it, man. A lot going on. How was your weekend? What'd you do, Alfred?
It was good, bro. Yeah, you know what? You and I know. I mean, once you're married, bro, we get this. We get the honey-do list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that honey-do list is pretty much, honey, do this. Make sure you do this. Make sure you handle this. And so today, this weekend, we just took care of business. We we did the yard work. You know how that goes. And so I had some stuff that we needed to take care of, man. But overall, man, we had a good time, man. We celebrated Memorial Day weekend, giving honor where due, man. We want to thank everybody. If you're a serviceman, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for your service. And, man, we're just blessed to be in a country where, not only are we free to speak and have these great holidays, get some carne estrada on the grill, and just enjoy freedom, bro.
Yeah, man. You know what? Speaking of that, that sounds kind of loud. I don't know if that's...
Is that you?
Yeah, it sounds kind of loud, but I don't know. You're the engineer, not me. One of the things that I do have this peeve though, Alfred.
Sure.
That it's Memorial Day, not Veterans Day.
That's right.
Right? So there, it's people forget it's different. It's Memorial Day. In other words, if you died or a veteran that's passed away, that's who we're honoring. We're not honoring the veterans. They have their own day. It's Veterans Day.
That's true.
Right. But yeah, just little semantics. But I just kind of, I don't know what it is about me. But to me, it's like when I see people like, hey, thank you for serving and all this stuff. Dude, it's Memorial Day.
That's true. Hey, somebody once said, bro, it comes down to making sure that we not only do we recognize the fallen, right?
Yeah.
So I think. And you're right. It's it's in pretty much honoring those people that have died, that have crucified their lives for this. And you're right, Memorial Day.
Yeah, and one of the things, Alfred, when that I think is really sad as we're learning more and more about some of the things that have gone on. When we look at things like Ukraine, the situation in Israel. Looking back now at the Afghan war, the Iraq war, and, you when you start to understand how evil and corrupt our government is here in the United States, just specifically, and it's just really sad because I look back and sometimes I wonder, are we the good guys? Are we the good guys out there, or are we the bad guys? I mean, obviously, I'm speaking of our government. We've been led to believe that, we're out there fighting for freedom and for democracy, which, again, we're a constitution republic, people. Democracies aren't good, so look it up. But, yeah, so we're out there, fighting for freedom. And we've had so many of our men and women that have gone and died. And I just can't help to think that it's really sad because it's questionable if they died for the right reasons. It's questionable. And I don't by that. I don't mean that, we have soldiers that went out there and, they died for what they believed they were being sent to do. Right. Mm-hmm. They, if they were going to Afghanistan, I was listening to this, the podcast with, what's his name? The football player, quarterback. He was
Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you saw that. He was on with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was talking about what's his name, Pittman, the guy that, oh God, I'm so bad with names, guys.
Yeah, he was the General Pittman, right? I think
Tillman, the guy who.
Oh, got you. Yeah. He
decided to go to the Iraq. It was Iraq War, I believe.
It was the Iraq War.
Or Afghan. No, he was the Afghan War. He ended up getting killed.
That's right.
Right. Put it in the comments. Sorry, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking the story about looking back and how, you know, when he got to Afghanistan, he was basically standing around just guarding a poppy field.
Imagine.
Yeah, and I guess he was writing letters home, and he was really frustrated because he was almost kind of like regretting his decision to sacrifice, go, because this man had a $1 million contract in the NFL that he basically gave up to serve his country, thinking he was going to go out and do, fight for freedom and liberate people and all the good things, right? They were told.
Right.
But then he finds himself standing around, guarding a poppy field, right? And that interview kind of gets around to kind of alluding to, like, did they actually kill him? Did the U.S. actually kind of set it up for him to be killed because he was pretty high profile? And I guess he was already writing home kind of a little bit frustrated about his deployment and questioning why they were out there.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because it's not just that. I don't know. I was listening to this other podcast from Joe Rogan and David Smith. And I think they were having that same discussion, bro. Like, can it be possible that the U.S. is having these wars? I mean, think about it. Having these wars, the Iraq War, for example, right?
Yeah.
They said that Saddam, with the intentions that, hey, there's, weapons of mass destruction, right?
Right, which we know aren't there now. It's a fact.
Exactly. And now, also, now you jump into the, what happened with Libya, right? Remember the same thing. There was a whole bunch. Even the guy got killed, or he was found under a rock or something. It was like a tunnel, and he got killed. And so now the thing of this is, it just makes you wonder, and just makes you think the coincidence of how everything plays out, right? How we're in Afghanistan protecting the poppy, like
poppy fields, yeah.
Poppy fields. Like, think about it. That opioids. What can you make with that? Fentanyl? What can you make with that? I mean, think about it for a second, man. I mean, is it to protect all these plants, the opioids that eventually are going to be, it just makes you think, like, is this for profit?
Yeah. Whatever reasons it is, it's not the reasons why people decided to sign up and list themselves and go out and sacrifice themselves, right? And so, I think it's highly likely that we've had a lot of veterans that have passed away and were basically not there for what they believe they were there to do. And so they've sacrificed their life for a cause that they didn't even know they were a part of. So I think that's highly likely. I think it's really sad. I was thinking about it because, yeah, it's sad, man. Some people say that the last real war we've actually had was World War II. Like righteous, justifiable wars, right? Was World War II, honestly, I don't know. I mean, Vietnam, I guess people were frustrated. I kind of get on the fence about Vietnam because I do understand, like, not allowing communism to spread throughout the world. So I kind of get it, but we've been lied to so many times now that it's just fair to say, man, it's sad. I mean, if you have family out there, that if you have loved ones that have passed away in these wars, man, I'm sorry, I feel bad. I hope I'm not coming across like the wrong way, but I think it's justifiable because, again, we know that, like, just take Iraq, for example. We know there was no weapons of mass destruction. That's a fact now. Right. So that's the reason why we went there. Again, Afghanistan, what were you doing in Afghanistan? None of the people on the plane were Afghanis, right? They were Saudis. Exactly. So, we just look back, and I think it's reasonable and highly likely that many Americans died and passed for a cause that none of us agreed with, right? So yeah, just wanted to throw out there that this wasn't planned.
No, bro, not at all. But you know what? It's like you said. You said this before, where hey, it's always good to have a
Healthy distrust.
A healthy distrust of your government, right?
Yep.
Not only because of stuff that we're, come on now. I mean, we just spent what was it, 2 years being patronized. This was the what do they call it? The pandemic of the unvaccinated. Yeah. I mean, think about it. We literally had CNN, MSNBC screaming in the top of their lungs, saying how because of people who are unvaccinated, this is the reason why we're in this situation. And now we have AstraZeneca pulling out all these vaccines, right? And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to question the issues about dying suddenly, right? And it's like, okay, like, hey, and now you're having these discussions. Joe Rogan, finally people are having these discussions where, like, come on now, like, was this intent? Was this for profit? I mean, they don't want you to question. They don't want you to say anything. Yeah. They don't want, they just want you to, continue with that dumb narrative, who's making money.
Yeah. I mean, again, yeah, it just goes to show if COVID exposed a lot, right? And a lot of people are, I mean, I just wonder, man, I had to go get labs done today, and it turned out to be a waste of time because my appointment expired. I was supposed to go months ago, but I kept procrastinating, but I'm like, I'll just go show up. They'll do it. But it's just crazy to see how many people still wear masks, man.
Bro.
And it's like, man, and,
But I mean, I gotta give this to Spanish media, bro. Telemundo, Univision, bro. They're fear-mongering our people. Yeah. And mostly the people, if you look around you, the people that have the actual mask is people that, Latino, Vietnamese, Chinese, people that,
Yeah, it's hard to tell with the Asians because they've always worn masks, right? Yeah. So it's hard to tell, like, hey, are they wearing it just because of COVID, or they were just, they were already kind of ahead of the time. But yeah, exactly. It's funny you say it because, Alfred, the two ladies that were in front of me in line were like two older Latina ladies. Yeah. Like an older woman. And I don't know, she was with another woman who was maybe like in her late 50s. And the other lady was probably like in her late 60s to mid 70s. And they were all worried because, they didn't bring masks. And, they're just, I could just overhear them talking. And as soon as they got to the check-in, they got their little mask. And it's just kind of stupid. It's so stupid because this whole time you've been in line with a bunch of people with no mask on. Right. So now you're in front, like, it's just logic, man. There's just no common sense. So, you've been around a bunch of people the whole time. So, if you were going to get sick, I mean, we already know the masks don't do anything. I mean, this is a fact, people. It's a fact. That's right. Right? The particles are smaller than the meshing on the mask itself. That's right. Right? So it's like wearing nothing. It's not doing anything. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, it's just, you look at those ladies and you're like, yeah, these women, man, you get so tempted to say something, I mean, I got so tempted to just like, ma'am, this is not going to help you. Like, in a nice way, but I'm just like, it doesn't matter, man. Let these people.
At the end of the day, you're just going to be like, man, screw it. I mean, you're just going to be like, you're talking to a wall. People, people are going to tend to do, not only are you being depraved from the oxygen, right? Because it's a known fact. But, bro, just think about all the dirtiness. The carbon monoxide is just getting stuck there. The whatever germs.
Just the bacteria from your own mouth.
Yes.
That's sitting there. You're not worried about that? All the slobber up in there. Like, it's just not even natural. Like, what do you think to yourself about, there's gotta be, it's just, you're blocking your airways.
That's true. But how do you explain to these people, man? How do you explain to these people?
I don't know, man.
I wish I could just tell them, hey, turn off the TV. You know what I mean? Just turn off your television. Because at the end of the day, that is what's keeping you, pretty much scared.
Yeah, the thing with these people have been indoctrinated, and it's too late.
That's true.
And I look at these people, and I know people are going to probably think that this is pretty ridiculous, but it's really not. These are the people that you can convince about a lot of things. I mean, you've convinced them to block their own breathing pathways. Mm-hmm. What can you not convince them of at this point? You know what I mean?
I mean, you convince them to vaccinate.
Yeah, you've convinced people. Yeah, right. You've convinced people to block their airways, and you convince them to take a untested medical substance and put it in your body that you can't take that back.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what can you not convince them of? You could convince them that, the Jews are evil.
Bro.
You could convince them that Latinos are monkeys.
Fact.
You know, I mean, to me, like when I look at these people that have fallen for this, they're easily programmable, for lack of a better term. So yeah, I didn't intend to get too far into this, but it's just somehow we ended up here, man. Hey,
hey, that's the way the road takes us, bro.
Yeah, man.
Wherever the road takes us, man. And bro, in other news, bro. I mean, I love it because guess what, bro? The same thing that you're thinking about, bro. Bro, I hate it. I'm driving. I'm going to my work, right? I'm going to the freeway.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, dude, I'm doing good. I'm listening to a podcast. I turn to my right. I'm gonna get into the other lane, and as soon as I turn into the other lane, I notice somebody driving by themselves with a mask, and I'm like, "What the hell?"
Bro. Okay, I was trying to get off this, Alfred, but now you're gonna keep it going. When COVID was going on, there was a guy on a motorcycle, bro.
Golly.
Okay. Yeah, and like you said too, people driving by themselves in the car with the mask. There's nobody else in there. Your windows are up. There was a guy on a motorcycle with the helmet, and he had his shield up, and he had his mask on.
Golly.
Bro, like, it's just Alfred. I was trying to move on.
Well,
but we could keep going on this, but it will be relevant because we are going to talk about something. One of the things we're bringing up, but. A little bit of I told you so's, I guess, but yeah, I don't remember what our first story is. What do we got, Alfred?
Yeah, so we're gonna jump right into it because man, this is it. Remember, we were talking about this lines up perfectly with what we've been talking about with these masks.
Okay.
Right. Initially, I don't know if you guys remember, about 3 years ago, up in New Jersey, right?
Oh yes.
New Jersey.
I didn't know we were doing this one yet, but yes.
Yeah. So in New Jersey, pretty much, there was a huge uproar, and it was in the news, right, about a gym owner. And he pretty much wanted, to keep his, he wanted to keep his business open, throughout this whole thing. And he got just pretty much, he was getting left and right. He was just coming, just getting bombarded, bro, with the city officials coming after him, one thing after another. You know what I mean? And now, after 4 years, bro, I'm sure he was put through hell. Think about it. Not only did he get all these citations right from the city, an outrageous amount of money, right, that the city was trying to rank out on him because he was not complying, right? This was the time where nobody knew what was going on, and you can blame ignorance and you can say whatever, but now that we have actual data, now we know what's going on, he pretty much just laid it out, and he just took him to court. I think he sued the city, and he actually won. And he won. And now he's giving his...
Well, I don't... Wait, hold on, Alfred. I don't think he actually sued the city.
Was it the city or was it the...
No. What it is that he was fighting back against the closures, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll listen to the short video. I don't think we want to play the whole thing, Alfred. We might want to cut it. Mm-hmm. But like Alfred said, if you guys remember back, this was when all these shutdown mandates were coming across. And it was big news because they were, I believe, the first business that came out, and they were a gym. And they refused to shut down. Right. Okay. And they refused to shut down. I remember the story well because they actually, they got creative, man. I forgot what they did, but they called themselves like a club or something like that.
That's right.
Right. And so they kind of changed the way they operated so that they wouldn't be able to be shut down legally.
That's true.
But, that's not the important part, but they were making a constitutional argument that the government had no authority to shut down their business. They ended up being right, okay? And I remember during the time, even the police officers were going down to the gym. They actually started signing up to go to that gym because it was the only gym that was open. Mm-hmm. So law enforcement actually started going to that gym during that time, even when they were trying to shut him down. So we'll play the clip real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Hopefully, you all remember this. But yeah, they've been vindicated. It's not over yet, but let's go ahead and play the story real quick.
Let's do it.
All just to lead to pushing an experimental jab. I vaguely recall that. Yeah, can you tell I still have some animosity towards that? Yeah, I'm never forgiving them. So you may recall there were certain business owners during that time period who were like, yeah, screw you. We're defying all of your unconstitutional orders. And they went through hell, a lot of them. And one of them is joining me today with some good news. I want to welcome to the show Ian Smith. He is a former New Jersey gym owner who was targeted by local officials for not following New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy's orders to close his gym. And Ian, welcome to the show. You just had a huge legal victory stemming from that battle.
Yes, well, I am here to share some good news, and thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So I want to get to the good news, but I want you to first take me back to 2020 here. Okay, you were charged with what, like over 80 charges for violating these public health rules. And did police ever? I know you kept your gym open. Did police ever arrest anyone, like gym goers or you guys, or what? How did that play out?
All of the above. So the municipal citations spanned over 2 years. We got a whole bunch of them within the first couple of weeks of opening up. And then they sort of stopped for a little while, and then we got some more, and then we got some more. And those tickets are all municipal citations ranging from violation of a governor's orders to public nuisance, zoning violations, and a couple other sort of miscellaneous arbitrary citations that were sort of just thrown at us really to scare us into shutting down. And when that didn't work, Governor Murphy took those municipal charges as well as a health department shutdown order and went before a judge. In New Jersey, we have appointed judges, not elected. So he went in front of his judge, and he asked for a court order to close our business. And then that's where a lot of the really tangible, very scary punishments came in. We were being fined $15,497.76 per day for every day that we were in operation. The state took upwards of $200,000 from our bank account. We had members arrested. We had one member arrested. My former co-partner and I were arrested. We had our doors forcibly locked by the sheriff's department. When we refused to comply with that, they came to lock the doors again, and we took them off the hinges and stayed inside for protest.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Yeah. Go. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So, so guys, he goes on to talk about they've spent close to $1 million in to fight this, right? So the next step is that they are going to go after trying to get some of this recuperated. But what happened was that the judge that was appointed, they were giving the state time to provide evidence for their claims and their accusations, and the state wasn't really responding, basically. So it got to the point where the judge's like, okay, I can't keep letting these guys keep going through this. So he just basically dropped all the charges. Right. So they had like 80 counts. And when you go back and listen to what he was saying, they were getting hit with like stupid little things initially. Right. Like, I think what was something like, it was like, it wasn't, I'm trying to remember what some of the stuff he had on there. Like he was saying they were getting hit with like, I don't know, like code violations and little things that had nothing to do with healthcare or.
Well, they were getting hit with both. So
after, but initially they were just getting stupid little citations. Little just nitpicky stuff just to scare them away. And then finally they took, once they took it to court, then that's where things got a little bit more serious for them. But the point being here that now when you think about it, I want to know how many people died as a result of them being open. Right?
I mean,
because let's remember, guys, it was oh my gosh, these evil people are going to die. I mean, this was a big deal, right? This was to save lives, supposedly. Okay. So where are the reports that are going to show us examples of these, let's just say this guy right here, that stayed open the whole time, right? And did not obey the orders and was putting people's life in jeopardy, supposedly. How many people died as a result of that gym being opened? I'm sure it's not significant, because if it was, it would have been all over CNN.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
If those numbers exist, which they would have traced them back. Remember, they were tracing all this stuff at some point.
Well, of course. And the thing is this, you know, I mean, now that after the fact, think about it, after the fact, right? It's kind of like they already, bro, man, I mean, I get upset because after the fact, when we start looking at all this, remember there was a big old thing with Fauci and Ron Paul, right?
Yeah.
Saying that they weren't doing gain of function, right?
Right.
And afterwards they find out that they were doing gain of function. So think about it. Line of Congress, right? Doing all these things, they probably already knew, bro. They probably already knew. That's why it's. I'm always, and again, by all means, I know people are gonna say, "Hey, well, I have family members that died of COVID. I do too." You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's probably people that die of the flu.
Exactly. So I have. I mean, to right now at this point, I don't know if this was done for profit, and they can call it whatever they can just to get extra money, because we know that hospitals were getting extra money.
Yes.
They reported them to be COVID. Okay?
Yes, they were getting subsidized for COVID patients if they were put on a ventilator. I don't remember what the dollar amount, but it was a pretty significant amount of cash that they would get. And so excuse me. So, you know, think of, you know, it's just logical, guys. I mean, we heard these stories of people that were being put on ventilators that I mean, I know there were one of the first stories that had come out. If there was one of the first few cases was a boat, if you guys remember, where there was people on the cruise, and I believe they were in Europe, and they got infected, and those people, there was an old couple, and one of the men, he was on the news. The elderly man was put in the hospital. He had COVID. He was having trouble breathing, but he refused to put himself on a ventilator because he came from he was in the medical field. So he knew what happens once you get put on a ventilator. It's very difficult for you to get off of it. So he refused to do it because to him, he understood that's basically a death sentence. Right. So he just started doing breathing exercises to keep himself breathing so he wouldn't have to be put on a ventilator, and he actually got better. They didn't have to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that the hospitals were incentivized to put people on ventilators, even if they probably didn't need it.
Right. So to my point, the reason why I bring this up is because, listen, during that time, you know, there was a lot of people. And again, I could come back and say, well, Alfred, you know, or well, you know, Isaac, you know, at that particular time, moment, we didn't know what we were facing. We didn't know. Yeah. You could have known. We never known. But at the end of the day, everybody has a choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I had a choice to get 1, 2, 3 triple vaccines if I wanted to. I should be entitled to my choice. You know what I mean? Like, I should be allowed to decide. And then at the end of the day, and then after nowadays, now you can say, well, now they're saying, well, you know, that's going to be with, you know, a decision between you and your doctor, right? I mean, why wasn't that offered to us during this? Think about it. I was one of those employees that had to be every week tested. You know what I mean? Like every week tested, like really for a whole year. Because again, I did not want to. I needed more information. I'm not looking at CNN, MSNBC, Telemundo, Univision to look at these numbers of people dying. I'm not looking at that. Yeah. I'm looking at my life. You know, I gotta pay the rent. I gotta take care of my family. I gotta live. You know what I mean? I gotta look at the alternative medicine. Why? How come there was no alternative medicine? Now you have, you know, Chris Cuomo going into this podcast and saying, after he shamed so many people from taking ivermectin and shaming even Joe Rogan, right? And now you have him saying, oh, you know, I took some of that. You know what I mean? Like I took some of that ivermectin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been redeemed, guys. So we, you know, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, every excuse, you're like, oh, the vaccine is what made us get better. No, because they've already come out and said the vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a fact. That's not even a speculation. The vaccine does not prevent you from getting COVID. So you can't say that the only reason more people didn't die was because the vaccine came out. That's not true, right? Then you had cases where people would come out and say, oh, you know, yeah, they got COVID, but they would have been worse
Right.
if they didn't get the vaccine. Well, how do you prove that? Because you didn't do any studies.
Right.
Right? People don't think about the fact that it was actually normal for you to get COVID and not be that sick. That was the normal. That was basically the majority of people. Majority of people, you know, you got COVID. Or something going on with the
Yeah. I'm
messing around?
fixing,
Okay.
I'm fixing it, brother.
Yeah, the majority of people, you know, they got COVID and they didn't get that sick. That was the norm, right? So then how can you say that, you know, make statements like, hey, if they hadn't gotten COVID, they'd be worse.
100%.
How do you prove that? Because it's not like the majority of people were getting very sick and going to the hospital and being put on ventilators, and all of a sudden now the vaccine comes out and now you have less people going to the hospital. That didn't take place.
Right. Well, that's the reason why I'm bringing this up, bro. Because a lot of the people, I mean, a lot of the media, and even people that were vaccinated, right?
Mm-hmm.
More power to you, right? Now you're starting to see, you know, things that, some of the things that we're seeing now. For example, about now the studies about natural immunity, right? How natural immunity is a much better, what do you call it? A much better take.
Well, it's a better remedy for you to not prevent you from getting it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, because your immune system is going to do what it's supposed to do, which is to develop immunity to the virus, right? And it's going to fight it back.
Of course.
Right.
But that was not the narrative at the time where all this thing hit the fan.
Yeah.
You know, what was it? The first option was, instead of looking of other alternative medicine, what did they do? Vaccine.
Yeah.
You guys got to
and all those doctors that were banned telling people that, you know, that naturally that their immune system would adapt, and as different as the virus would then mutate, that then our immune system, you would get sick, but you would get less symptoms and it wouldn't be as severe, right? That's what they were saying. And that's actually what happened.
Exactly.
That's exactly what happened. We couldn't look back now and say that's exactly what happened. Okay. So right now, I mean, you know, wherever all those people if you're somebody who still is listening to this, like, oh, these guys are idiots, and you listened to your source that was telling you everybody was going to die, and that, you know, this thing was super dangerous, and it didn't turn out to be that way. The same news network that told you that the vaccine actually prevents you from getting the vaccine and then getting the virus, and then it didn't, they were wrong again. I mean, at what point do you start questioning your sources, man? Because the reason I don't question my sources is because you keep getting right every time.
Exactly.
Right? Every time. And so the point being is, we look at this case now in New Jersey. Now we're watching this as 2024. You know, we followed this case in 2020, right? And we, you know, back then they were saying it was unconstitutional and what the government was doing had no authority to do it. And it turns out they were right. And unfortunately, all these businesses, had they followed suit, right, and refused to open, the government wouldn't have gotten away with all the stuff they did, you know. And people, you know, hopefully this is a lesson for. I know it's hard, you know, if you have a business and you have the government breathing down your neck, but guys, I don't understand. I mean, especially getting the whole vaccine. I mean, for me, you know, I refused to get it, and if my job at the time, I actually left my job because they were, when we got back, the company I was working for was forcing us to wear masks. I'm like, I ain't doing this. I left. I'm out. I was willing to lose everything. You know, my wife worked for she worked for the health department.
Right.
Okay. And they mandated it, and she refused to get it. And now everybody that works in her office that got the vaccine regrets it. How many people do you know that regret not getting the vaccine?
That's right. Oh, bro. I mean,
right? Have you heard somebody say, "Man, I wish I would have got it"?
Not only that, Isaac. Okay, not only that. And again,
I haven't met one.
You probably only met one, right? But what I'm saying, the other option, bro, is, bro, I am hearing these horrible stories about people having myocarditis. right? Or issues with their heart.
Yeah.
You know, I have a family member that, that's struggling with heart issues. Never had any problems.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they're already saying the cancer diagnosis is up 300%.
Can you imagine?
And this is all post-COVID. So, I mean, again, the conspiracy theorists, people that were getting counseled, were warning people of these things, that it would lead to increase in cancer, that it would lead to sterile, lower sperm counts in men, and infertility issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or fertility issues with less. I mean, all of these things have been proven. Well, I don't want to say proven true, but seem to be true because, you have reports. I mean, reports of fertility clinics talking about increase in cases with people coming in with fertility issues after the vaccine came out.
Right.
So, I mean, again, all these doctors that were canceled, it seems like they were right.
Right.
So, aside from that, now we go business wise, how many companies shut down because of it?
Wow.
I mean, thank God these guys stayed up. Their business probably wouldn't have survived. A lot of gyms didn't survive.
Well, yes, of course. Well, even think about all the current businesses that are actually closing as well because of that particular situation. Not only were they closed, they were forced to pay, some of their employees without making profits during that time. Think about it. Come on now, you can't go 3 years from now or 3 years ago where they were lining us up, right? 2-3 people per, now think about the other conspiracy. Now they got the studies to show that actually the 6 feet rule, like the 6 feet distance.
Yeah. There's man, bro.
I mean, what else, bro? I mean, we're laughing. I mean, I'm laughing about this right now because, bro, I mean, think about it. I mean, you're not only, not allowing people to come into your store because, you're being forced to have these safe distances where you're limiting, certain people to say, nah, I'm not going to go, bro. If I'm going to be stuck 3-4 hours in the store, I'm not doing it. It's not that serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where are all the dead people in the states that didn't shut down?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The
states where they didn't shut down and have all the shutdowns like we had in California. Where's the cases of their dead, Because remember, again, I hope if you're somebody that was that afraid, how do you not look back and just look at the evidence in front of you? If you lived here in California, you were told 7 days to slow the spread. They shut everything down. Did you really believe that did anything? Because you have the examples of states where they didn't do any of these things.
Well, just to put you in perspective, it's been 15 days to stop the spread. It's been already 4 years. And they haven't even came out and said, hey, we're not going to do that anymore.
They're never going to come back and say they were wrong. They never do.
Right? I mean, they never do. They're never going to come back and say, hey, guys, the 15 days to stop the spread, I think we're past it. You know what I mean? We're good. 4 years, I think we're good. But guess what? I mean, I hear conversations about unlimited power. Let's do this. Now we're having these discussions about giving the president unlimited power for. Now they're focused on the next big thing, which is the green. The green. What is it called? The environmental catastrophes. You know what I mean? Like now we're jumping to something where burn. I mean, we're seeing the burns, and now I've heard this to the grapevine where we have a conversation where they're trying to give that unlimited power to the president for our environmental disasters. Like, come on now, what are we? What are we living?
Well, yeah, I mean, the same people that scared you about COVID are the same people scaring you about climate change.
100%.
So I mean, their lies don't end in everything. It's the same people that are lying to us, telling us that we need to send money to Ukraine, are the same people who lied to you about COVID and are lying to you about global warming.
Bro, it's sad. It's almost like a huge cast, bro. It's like a huge actor. Like this is the actor. I mean, we know who Zelensky is. We know who these people are, right? Actors, right?
Yep.
But bro, people still eat it. People still are wearing masks, right? Remember the hospital where you went at?
Yeah.
The ladies, they're still falling into that false, narrative that, we're you know, we could potentially be next.
Yeah,
You know,
it's crazy to me, man. I just think to myself, at what point do you, I mean, for me, if, you know, I rather live without a mask if I knew, even if it was that bad.
right.
Honestly, if it was that bad where it was really that serious, why would I want to live in a world like that? I'd rather just take my chances, man. If I go, I go.
Right.
I don't want to be here.
I mean, or even.
I mean, I don't want to be here if I have to wear a mask all the time.
Right.
That's not how I want to live.
Or even put yourself in a predicament where you get the Picatito Santos, and then look at what's going on now. Now you have issues, right? Like, Chris Cuomo said that he was injured, or somehow he said he suffered something, side effect, right?
Oh, he's
Like
got side effects?
Yeah, he says he got side effects. But think about it. And now we are starting to see a report that for the vaccine, there's an 11% chance of side effect. That's really high, bro. That's super high.
Yeah.
11% that you're gonna get a side effect, bro. Come on. At what point where was the data presented to our government to say, hey, bro, it could be above 33%, 50% that can get myocarditis.
Yeah.
60 or 80% that can get cancer. Come on now. Come on. I mean, look at this point now. Just over a couple weeks, we just saw that AstraZeneca is no longer going to do the jab because they say that demand is no longer there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, supposedly. Good. But think about it. They still haven't really looked into their. I mean, everything that they do is always right now with the purpose, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to quiet everything down because now they know that a lot of people are just they're awake. They're starting to see this no longer needed, right? But besides the point, think about all the injuries. Like what's going to happen with all these people? I mean, we got the Bears, right? With the high amount of people that got injuries from these vaccines, but what are they going to do about it?
Nothing, because they had immunity. See, and this is where Trump screwed up, and he won't fess up, right?
Right.
Remember, he's the one who granted him immunity. The whole what's it called? What was it called? It was
Well, the warp speed. It was through the
to speed up the vaccine. It was called Operation
Warp Speed, right?
Warp Speed.
Warp Speed. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah. So Trump, that was Trump.
Yeah. See, that's yeah. Yeah, it's facts.
That's
facts. I mean,
and to me, again, so you guys can see, we don't just pick on Democrats. You could maybe give the pass to Trump to say that he didn't know how bad it was. He was trusting people around him, and I could buy that, and I actually do believe that because, but my issue is, he should come back and say I'm sorry.
He should.
I screwed up.
Right.
He's not, and that's the problem that I have. So I can believe that he didn't know any better because he's not a doctor. See, and that's the thing that even as a leader, unless you're a doctor, when it comes to medical things, you don't mess around with that, right?
That's true.
So I can see how you're going to really rely on the medical experts that you have around you.
Yeah, but when you have
to make a decision.
But when you have Fauci,
well, yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, he didn't. I don't think. I mean, none of us knew he was that wild.
Well, I mean,
I didn't know who Fauci was.
Well, of course not. But you have Birx, you got Fauci. Remember, Dr. Atlas? They boot him out, and he was the only. I can consider the only doctor that he was there striving to speak facts and say, no, guys. Dr. Atlas. And all of a sudden, he disappeared. Nobody knows where he's at. So we got with Birx and Fauci, and look what happened. You know?
So my point is, I can forgive him for and understand,
of course,
that he had to rely on an expert, but at some point you figured out that you were getting used and that you made a big mistake. At this point, it's pretty clear he made a big mistake. And so my problem with Trump is that he won't come out and actually say, I screwed up. It would make me feel so much better about his next administration, if he gets one, if he actually came out and said something like that and just said, I made a mistake. I didn't realize, because I've heard his son in interviews. What's his name? The son?
Is it Don Jr.?
Don Jr.? God, funny. I forgot his name. It's the same name, Jr. That's how bad I am with names. But yeah, Don Jr. That's usually his response to that question. Every time I've heard him interview and he's get asked that question, his response is, they didn't realize how bad these guys were, right? And they didn't understand how evil that the people in Washington were. But okay, I understand that, right? And I can understand and I can appreciate it. But at this point now, you do. So I'm waiting for a statement from Trump or a response from Trump at some point saying he's sorry. I messed up. You don't even have to say you're sorry. Just explain to us what happened and how now you realize that, yeah, there's these guys can't be trusted. And on your next term, you know better now, right? You know better now. You've learned from your first go around, and you figured out who friend from foe, and you're going to do a better job next time because his next term, there'll be no excuse. But unfortunately, we won't be able to hold him accountable anyways. I mean, it's his last term, so he's gonna be he's just gonna do what he wants to do, right?
True.
So that's what I'm saying. But
That's true. That's true, man. Hey, I mean, talking about bad bad choices, and I think it's something that we've been discussing here, man. It's the situation at the border, right? I think we all know what is happening at the border. We already know that this is causing an open border. Just it just causes a lot of issues. You know what I mean? Nowadays, we're gonna talk about this because this is something that's happening with the sex trafficking rings that are being popping in every city, bro. So right now we have this report in regards to Baton Rouge in Louisiana. I guess they found a ring, bro, of
yep,
sex trafficking. Women that are being trafficked. That are being smuggled through the border.
yep,
And bro, it's something that
we told you so.
Exactly, right? We've been saying this like, hey, come on now. You open it, right? You leave your borders wide open. Guess who's gonna come in and take over? These organizations that are gonna be, doing their thing, right? This is what they do.
Right.
And now they're bringing it over here, and now we're setting shop here in the good United States, and this is what's happening. So you want to look at this video?
Yeah, man, play it.
Let's play this video.
Play the receipts.
Play the receipts. Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
Ready for a holiday weekend? Here's something to keep an eye out for. We're learning disturbing new details of a possible smuggling and sex trafficking operation stretching across the border to multiple states, including right here in our own backyard. Miranda Thomas is here to break down what you need to know. Miranda.
Are working to dismantle what they call a dangerous gang from Venezuela. Now, they say it's sneaking women into the U.S., including some victims taken right here to Baton Rouge.
Oftentimes we'll see victims that are brought in from other states and other countries, and they can't articulate to us how they got here, how long they're staying here, where they're going to lay their head at night. And so things like that are things that are often red flags for us.
Federal agents are explaining how easy it is for human trafficking rings to operate right under our noses, including one the federal prosecutors say operated here at this apartment complex on South Harrells Ferry Road.
So different things that we typically see is someone who may not have control of their identification documents, or they may be malnourished, or they may not be able to articulate their travel plans.
This newly filed federal complaint reveals women were smuggled across the border and brought to Baton Rouge and other cities. According to court documents, one woman says she was first smuggled across the southern border into Texas. Then, once she arrived, she was told that she would have to pay the smugglers for their services by having sex with clients of Tren de Aragua, a gang based out of Venezuela. According to the documents, the woman was told that her family would be hurt or killed if she refused to comply. The victim told investigators she was told that she was among dozens of women being trafficked and kept in stash houses in these states. She ultimately ended up here in Baton Rouge with another woman being forced into sex work. According to court documents, just days after they arrived, one victim decided to call the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office begging for help. Deputies went to the apartment in April where they found the 2 victims and this man, Albert Machado. He's described in court documents as the handler of the women who was responsible for collecting cash and keeping a ledger book to document how much money each victim made each day and how much of their debt remained. After
Man.
further
Wow.
Man.
So think about it. So think about this, bro. So listen, this is, this puts you in a perspective in regards to how well DHS or even that, the Border Patrol security is, so well wrapped up, bro. They got it. They got it under control, buddy.
Yep.
They know who's coming in. They know everybody that's coming in here. They actually have a sense where they're going to land. But in a sense, look, this is exactly what happens when you just leave a border that's wide open and you have incompetency. Okay, you have people that are working in our border, and I'm not gonna blame the patrols, but I'm gonna blame the people on top, bro. They don't care, bro. You know what I mean? They just don't care. And now they're having these kinds of issues popping up everywhere. Think about it, Louisiana, bro, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You know what I mean? In our own backyard. You know?
Yeah. So again, guys, been vindicated. We're coming with receipts. You know, go back and listen to the previous podcast. This was all supposedly not true. Go back to now Trump talking about in his first term when he was talking and saying very bad hombres.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Very bad hombres, right? Which was supposed to be racist. Talking about murderers and rapists crossing our borders, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, again, turns out to be right. This is a local news channel. This isn't Fox News. This is the local news network in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, reporting on that's just like one case, I'm sure. You know, this is just one person. There's thousands and thousands of people crossing the border every single day. And it makes you wonder, that gang in Venezuela they're talking about,
right?
Could it be MS-13?
What? Remember on our last remember the last podcast? What did I say? I think I mentioned that Trump actually came out. He came out and on one of his rallies up in the Bronx, he said, "Can you guys imagine this? Venezuela right now has 70% of decrease in criminalized crimes. Why? Because he said they're dumping everybody out of their jail cells into our backyard, into the United States." And is he wrong?
I mean, we got receipts, guys. Show us your receipts that this isn't true.
Exactly.
You know, show us. You know, put it on our comments. Put an article. Put something that disproves what we're seeing. I mean, again, guys, we were just talking about COVID and how anybody, and here we are again. Now let's take the border. You're racist if you want. Oh, the wall. You know, the wall's racist.
Yeah, let's build.
The very bad hombres comment was racist. No, I would say the guy they showed in the picture right now in the article is a very bad hombre. Wouldn't you not agree?
That's true.
Do you disagree with that? If you disagree, put it in the comments. If you agree, put it in the comments. Right? That's a very bad hombre. And this is 2 women. This is just 2 women. And remember, these women, we've talked about what goes on in the border. We just talked about in the last podcast with the stupid Pope. With his "es una locura" comment, where Texas is investigating a Catholic nonprofit, right? Because they're helping smuggle people into the United States illegally. Right? So again, what did I say? I said they're aiding and abetting sex trafficking. This is literally, how do we know that these women, that this organization did not help these women get trafficked into the United States? How do we know? I mean, I want to know. I want to know if these women, if that organization helped these women be trafficked into the United States. Mm-hmm. You know, and remember in this article, the women's talking about how it's hard for them to find out what's going on because there's a communication, there's a language barrier. Of course. Right? There's also, what they say, sometimes they're so malnutrition, they're so malnourished.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how bad and what kind of shape these women are in.
Right.
You know? And so remember, Trump is the anti-woman guy, right? The conservatives, anybody, we're supposed to be anti-woman. We're not the ones passing these policies that are allowing these women to suffer.
That's right.
We're trying to protect these women. Putting a wall and actually patrolling our border and having a immigration system that actually works and keeps bad people out and allows for good people to come in. That is what we want. We're trying to protect women. So if you're an open border person, then you're anti-woman. It's just a fact, and you're pro-trafficking.
That's true.
That's what you are.
That's true. It's blanked
I mean,
out.
we're giving you receipts. I mean,
yeah.
You just saw this is just one case, and
Right.
and this is all being paid for by tax dollars. Those women were brought from Texas to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Their expenses were paid with your tax money.
Mm-hmm.
We know this because it's a fact. I mean, they put them on planes, they put them on buses. All of this is paid for with taxpayer dollars. The U.S. government is facilitating all that travel.
That's true. That's true. And then and to hit this in the nail some more,
Yeah.
you got our senators, our people in Congress, bro, more worried about somebody else's border like Ukraine.
Right.
The bad people from Russia, or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
these are the bad people, but don't worry about these. Don't worry what's going on in our backyard. Don't worry what's coming into our own. Don't worry about the 300 people that are dying out of fentanyl a day.
Right.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Let's just worry about Ukraine and Russia right now, and Israel and Palestine. Let's worry about that. Don't worry about this thing. Don't worry what's going on in here. Don't worry that the nonprofits are making millions and billions of dollars, right? Into in the United States legally. Okay, I mean, golly, at this point, are the nonprofits in cahoots with cartels? I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, think about it. You're trying to get receipts, right? Ken Paxton just came into Texas and said, hey, I'm from the Action House. Hey, I want to get receipts of what you're doing with the money. Where is it going to? Where are you moving these people to? I want to know. What did they say? They pull up a finger, and it's not the pinky. I'll tell you that. To Ken Paxton. And now they want to take this information all the way to the Supreme Court. Why?
Right.
Why? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, you can live under a rock, man. We can live under a rock, but come on now. Do we have to be blind to see what's going on here?
Oh yeah, no, it's guys. There's so many examples of what's going on. We just talked about the Pope last week.
Yeah.
We talked about the diary with Joe Biden's daughter, right? Talking about how she was sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know these things. There's just look what's going on with P. Diddy with the whole, human trafficking allegations, right?
Right.
I mean, it's all around us. And one of the things I remember, I just remembered that from the movie Sound of Freedom. Well, it wasn't the movie Sound of Freedom, but the guys the producer and the writers on one of the interviews when the movie was coming out, they were talking about how war is, that sex traffickers call war harvest time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that, Alfred?
Yeah.
Did you hear that interview?
Yes, sir.
And it makes sense when you think about it, because they were talking about in the chaos of war, it's easy for them to just snag children and people.
Right.
Right. Because, you have, what they do is they'll set up like shelters for the children. I guess it happened also in even in natural disasters.
That's true.
I think in Yemen, they were talking about how in Yemen, if you guys remember, they had the big the tsunamis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of kids that were orphaned. So the human traffickers would set up these makeshift orphanages, and people were taking kids that were finding on the street and putting them there, thinking it was a legitimate orphanage, but it was really human traffickers. Same thing happens in war, in war zones where, these kids, they're found wandering in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
women,
All right.
So, the wars, now we're kind of learning that it's not just about making money, on weapons and all that. It's also, well, not just on weapons, it's also making money off humans.
That's true.
It's harvest time.
That's true. That's true. Because guess what happens? In times of war, programs get activated.
Right.
Nonprofits, they're able to wiggle the way, and it's for profit, right? Oh, we're doing this fantastic work. We're doing this to help the community. But then again, charging $10,000 to $4,000, $45,000 a month for certain families.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just profit. You know what I mean? That's just sick. And it makes them not any better than the price gouging that's happening with our corporations. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're taking full advantage of not only the population, because at the end of the day, it affects us all. It affects us with hardworking, inflation. Why are we in this situation? Because look, the bad management of people. Talking about kids, bro. I don't know if you heard this story, bro, but I was just probably about a week ago. We had John, the Pope, again, talking about the Pope. He got called out by, the LGBT community. And the reason why is because, he was asked a specific question in regards to priesthood, right? You know that when you become a priest, right, you just simply, there's certain, they don't get married. You know what I mean? Like they don't get to.
They live a life of celibacy.
Celibacy, exactly. So they don't get married. They live a life of celibacy. They don't have a family.
Right.
And I guess in this interview or whatever he was asked, he just said, no, this will not be open to the LGBT community, right? Because as you know, I don't know if you know, but the Episcopal, I think the church, it allows that. Methodist also is allowing certain things now. I mean, it's getting crazy, out of control. And so he was asked that, and he came back and he just said, no, I don't think that's going to be allowed for priesthood, LGBT, or anybody that's gay to join some of the priesthood, because of, again, the moral, right? I mean, you not only do you have the moral implication, but, it's something that, come on now, Catholics allowing this to happen. I mean, it'll break any kind of.
Yeah, the article. Sorry I just pulled it up here real quick. So it's a CNN article where it talks about. It says Pope Francis accused of making homophobic slur in a closed door meeting. So it was a closed door meeting. And then it goes on to say, remarks in the context of proposals from the Italian bishops to amend guidelines on candidates to seminaries, which is weird, that they are amending them. You would think that would have been a guideline already.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I mean.
Isn't that interesting?
That's what I'm
So they're talking about amending their guidelines, right?
Right.
And the newspaper article, which were translated from Italian, claimed that the Pope had used an offensive noun, which translates into English approximately saying, I'm gonna say it. Would I get
We'll find out.
Would I get in trouble?
Well, I mean, he said it.
Quote, faggotry. I wonder what the word was to describe some of the seminaries.
Well, in any way or another, I don't think he wants that particular option, and I think that's why he's being clear, right? I don't think that should be right, something that is allowed. But hey,
yeah, no faggotry allowed in the priesthood apparently. So the Vatican ruled in 2005 that the church cannot allow ordination of men who are actively gay or have deep-seated homosexual tendencies. In 2016, Francis upheld this ruling. So just interesting because, man, that means that prior to 2005, Alfred, they would allow men.
It was an option.
That's the big story for me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just wondering if anybody, that's Catholic knew about this.
Right. If you're Catholic, does it concern you that it took until 2005 for that policy to be put in place?
I mean,
I guess it's no wonder they had all that issues with all these children being boys being molested, right?
I was gonna say,
when was that? That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
That was back in the 80s and 90s. And
no, I'm sorry, no, it was in the 90s. It was in the early 2000s, I believe.
It was in early 2000s, and think about it, 2005. It rules out that hey, they're gonna amend, or they're having this discussion about adapting to a new guideline, right? Or even consider a guideline, right, that allows that. But up to that, I think he upheld and he said, nope, we're going to keep it as that. We don't want this going on. I'm sure think about all the lawsuits from different people.
Alfred, that means that the church. Might sound okay?
Yeah, you're good.
So that means that in 2005, which I'm pretty sure that's when all of these allegations started coming out with all these boys being molested by priests.
Sure.
So somebody huddled up. There was a meeting, and they're like, "How do we solve this problem?" Right? And they must have decided they need to get rid of all that faggotry that was going on in 2005, bro. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, we need to put these amendments because we got too many gays.
Something had to happen. And again, this is something that happened.
So they blamed the gays for this.
Well, I mean, think about amongst all these investigations, how many of these men, could seriously come out and say, hey, it's because of my preferences.
Yeah,
right?
they investigated this, so they must have concluded that the majority of the people offending, which, common sense dictates that if you were a male molesting other little boys, you were likely gay.
Right.
Okay, you had those tendencies, and it's just interesting that up until 2005, they didn't have that policy.
Right, and this is coming directly from the CNN article. This is not us. We're just having that discussion.
It's on this article.
It's on the CNN article that this is something that came out. And again, the question is how many of people that that knew about this? They knew they had a closed door meeting, and even continued to have closed door meetings about possibilities of adapting guidelines that go against the gospel, goes against the Bible. So
Right.
Think about it. For me, it's more like, hey, again, are we gonna put our faith or whatever, our tradition and faith, in a small group of men, or are we going to go back to, let's look at what the Bible said?
Yeah, and it's interesting because on the article goes on to say in 2000, so it talked about 2006 he upheld the ruling, right?
Yeah.
Then it says 2 years later, he told the Italian bishops not to accept gay candidates for the priesthood. So again, he has to tell them 2 years later.
Dude,
right?
Good
Lord.
But
How many times have we got to repeat ourselves here? We don't need any faggotry here in the Catholic churches, apparently.
golly, bishops, don't bring this stuff up.
Yeah.
Why are you guys trying to bring all this stuff? Because of the people, because of the culture. Well, we don't follow culture, right? We follow what the Bible says. Stick to it. You know what I mean? And he's appelling, but guess what? He got called out on it.
Yeah.
And to the point, he got called out on it that, that roughly a couple of days ago, I think they were celebrating a celebration for the children, the world of the children. And you know what they did? They invited a person, from the LGBT to come and do a presentation to the children.
Yeah, bring the receipts, Alfred. Put the receipts.
So here we go. So this is one of the so we have a actual live site. Brain says male drag artist dances for kids at the Vatican World of Children Day.
That's right.
And you guys want to look at the video from this person? His name is I believe his name is Carmine de Rosa. Okay, so let's see if we can play a little quick thing of what he said.
Yeah, you get to see his performance.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully we can say without any issues here.
Oggi mi trovo allo Stadio Olimpico di Roma per la giornata mondiale dei bambini indetta da Papa Francesco. Sono veramente emozionatissimo e non vedo l'ora di far vedere il mio spettacolo a tutti i bambini provenienti da ogni angolo del mondo. E quale spettacolo migliore se non il giro del mondo in 10 minuti? Venite con me.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. So this actually right now, I am sure that a lot of people it's getting noticed. When did we ever have that? The Vatican allows, some sort of representation. And believe me, I know they're going to say, hey, we need to honor everybody, right? We need to respect everybody, right? But in what sense, at what point do you just say, guys, you got your Pope saying, don't open it up for what? Because of that issue?
Yeah.
But then now you have, let's teach it to the children.
Yeah, what's the incentive behind this? Why would you decide that for the National Day of Children, which I just the National Day of whatever, so stupid. What I don't even understand. Like, to me, there's always some weird agenda behind these things. They seem so innocent, but I'm sure we're gonna find out more as time goes on what the real agenda behind having a National Day of Children is, World National Day of Children. But, you know, why have a transgender guy come out and perform? You know, why not a clown, a magician? I don't know. Why does it have to be somebody who believes he's a girl and enjoys having sex with men? I mean, that's what we're talking about. It's sexual orientation. Why are we? There's just constantly, and again, you know, we know the church, you know, has had problems already, right? We've already, you know, they've already had problems with priests molesting boys, and here we have them now inviting, you know, a transgender to perform in front of children on National Day of or World National Day of Children. I guess it just doesn't even make sense. You know, and going back to this article that we were reading just earlier, because you see how this kind of gives you the timeline, how the Pope progressively is just starting to take the church towards accepting all of this, right? Which, I mean, this was a big leap, right? Having this guy come over. But just as a reminder, this was just recently too, because on the article goes on to say during his pontificate, can't say that word, the Pope has sought to offer a more welcoming approach to LGBTQ plus Catholics, saying, "Who am I to judge?" when I asked about gay priests, and has also offered the possibility that priests could offer informal blessings for same-sex couples. Right?
I mean, bro, again, I've seen this Pope just, you know, it's kind of like, it to me, bro, it's kind of like this. It's like you create a demand, right? You create an issue, right? Just so you can accomplish what your decision is, right? For example, let me go ahead and get 3 to 4 or 5 news. And again, this is me wearing that, you know, that tin hat again, right? Putting it on, creating an uproar, just so I can allow certain things to, you know, to be put into our you know, to change our culture, you know, within the Catholic Church. Yeah. You know, think about it. At the end of the day, what does the Bible say? You know, is this wrong? Yes or no? Is it wrong? Yeah. For males to sleep with males?
Well, it's funny that he says, "Who am I to say?"
Would
right?
you, come
You're
on
the
now.
Pope, bro. According to your theology, you are a authority over the church. You're supposed to be Jesus. I correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is the Pope is like the representative of Jesus, the man here on earth.
He is.
Right? And according to Catholic theology, you know, in Scripture, when Jesus tells Peter, you know, that he would hand them over the keys.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Their interpretation is, and whatever bound on earth will be bounded in heaven. Right?
Right.
So when he says, "Who am I?" Well, according to your theology, you are the guy that Jesus handed the keys over to and gave the authority to whatever you bind here on earth will be binded in heaven. Am I getting something wrong here? Right? Because, you know, again, he's saying, "Who am I?" I just told you who you are. So this is according to your own theology. This is the authority that you have.
Right.
And so now, if you're Catholic, when you have the priest now allowed to bless a same-sex marriage, what is blessing? What is a blessing? Right? What's the difference between a blessing and a marriage? I mean, the marriage is a covenant, right? It's a promise before God. But what's I mean, a blessing is pretty close. Pretty close to basically you saying, you know, we want we're blessing it.
Your approval.
You're approving it.
Yes.
Right?
You're okay with our lifestyle. You're okay with what we're doing. Priest, pastor, or I mean, at this point, priest, our bishops, Pope, please don't look at our faults. Don't look at the Bible, what it says there I shouldn't do. Just bless us. Bless our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Bless us.
Yeah, there's a term I forgot in Catholicism that if the Pope doesn't, there's a certain state, I guess, if he, I guess their argument's going to be that just because that was in a, man, we'll have to look it up, Alfred. But there's a name that when a Pope can make statements and declarations, but doesn't mean it's bound unless it's under a certain context.
Right.
He's got to be sitting. I don't know. Let's just say I forgot what it is, but he's got to be sitting in the throne, if you will, right? Like
he's around his archbishops, everybody. He's part of. He's in a council, right? It's something that he's writing. There's even a seal in his ring, right?
Yeah.
That he puts a stamp. There's a stamp, that he seals it.
There's some sort of official capacity he has to be in at the moment for him to be able to declare that so now, right? But again, if it's bound on earth, it's bound in heaven. So I'm just going to pose the question. Now he's basically said it's okay to bless same-sex marriage. So does that mean it's bound in heaven? Comment and let us know.
Come on.
Comment and let me know.
Oh, this is something that it's a really good question. Now again, that's why I always go and I always gravitate back to look what happened, right? Look what happened the snake said something, but what did God say? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the snake says something.
Right.
Culture says something, right? Even now, we're starting to see how he comes out. I mean, you have somebody of respect, right? What you just mentioned is this is the person that's here representing, approximately 6 billion Catholics. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to say that many, but I'm just saying a bunch of people, right? Representing a bunch of people. And what he says, people are paying attention around the world. This is Latin America. Anywhere he goes, people are paying attention to what the Pope is saying. Now, when the Pope goes rogue, right? And I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying go rogue is because look at what's going on, okay? You have a predicament. You have a situation where he's been caught saying some slurs, right? But is this intentionally? Was this part to allow this? Is this part of the plan here? Is this somebody do I really want to follow based on his theology and what he's doing, his actions, right?
Right.
And you can even say, well, I don't judge people by their actions. Well, in this case, a lot of the Catholics do judge people by character and their actions.
Yeah, and one of the worst misquoted scriptures is, when people say, who am I to judge? We're not supposed to judge. Well, finish the scripture because it comes on to say you are take that log off your eye first,
of course,
right? So in other words, saying, hey, if I'm an alcoholic and I'm judging you for being alcoholic, I need to take care of my alcoholism first before I can come to you now, right? So take that log off my eye. But then it goes on to say we are to judge and judge righteously. So the Bible doesn't say you're not allowed to judge. It's just saying before you do so, get yourself right? And when you do go judge righteously, right?
Of course, with love.
With love.
You know what I mean? And Hebrews talk about it. Read it. Hebrews says, hey, when you do talk to somebody, talk to him, in a sense, in love,
Right.
And even that, if there's a discussion or whatever, the person is up R-rated or whatever, bring somebody with you. Bring somebody so he can be there to judge and witness the conversation, just so it won't get awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
I would argue it's his duty, his responsibility to judge.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he judges conservatives all the time. Remember, he talked about that if you carry a weapon, you're not a real Christian.
Oh, exactly.
Aren't you judging? So interesting how he will judge then. Didn't we just show him in an interview last week saying it's crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy what Texas is doing by aren't you interesting? You didn't reply by saying, well, who am I to judge?
Right. Or he went or even that to the point where he can say, hey, listen, guys, I don't know much about it. I can't judge that right now, right? I can't speak on it, right? But what do? He flat out just walked into the narrative.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this is what he does consistently. You know what I mean? He gets prosecuted, he gets judged, and then what happens? He bends the knee. Yep. And then he ends up having these little charades here where, come on, man. I mean, come on. Like, is this really what Catholic people want to see?
Yeah, if you're Catholic, man, I can't believe you're not on the phone just hammering your priest.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, you really need to think about what you're a part of. I'm not gonna. I mean, it is a political podcast,
but you know what? But at the
I'm
end
trying
of the
to be
day,
careful here because I actually have a friend who's one of my coworkers. So last week she actually watched the podcast because she doesn't really watch the podcast. So I don't know if she'll keep watching it. Shout out to Donna Becker. So she's a Catholic, and so she was telling me how when how I called the Pope a demon.
Sure.
That whole little section.
Right.
She gasped. She's a Catholic schoolgirl. She went to Catholic school. She went to Saint. The whole deal. But she said that, by the time she understood where I was coming from, I'm like, I was a little worried about that, and I get worried. Again, my dad's Catholic, my mom's Catholic, most of my family's Catholic, right? So for you Catholics out there, I'm not trying to hate on you guys. I'm just, I mean, there's pastors out there that do gnarly stuff too, right? But we're talking about the Pope, and I guess the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because the Pope has a lot of power and influence worldwide.
That's right.
The reality is, in the Protestant world, we don't really have a figure that's as powerful here on earth as the Pope is, right? I mean,
well, we did at one point with Billy Graham.
But I mean, reality is, bro, Billy Graham did not have the worldwide influence that the Pope has had.
True. Or the position. Let's just say the men, right? Because believe me, I mean, when it comes down to Pope, man, John Pope II, right? Great man. Things that he stood for, great man. I mean, think about it. And see, the Catholics, or even that ourselves, I came out of a Catholic, still my family's still Catholic, you know what I mean? And so I understand that sometimes some people feel, that when people that leave, they're just talking out of aggravation, right? They dislike us. No, we don't. What we want you to see and open your eyes is that we need to stop following men. You know what I mean? We need to stop following men. The Catholic, I know some diehard Catholics, right? That are great, and they're not, they don't even sell it, they don't even bend down to saints. They're great Catholics. You know what I mean? They're people that they're pro-life. They're pro-family. They're pro. They're pro-liberty. They love liberty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is out of the political arena. Some of us came from that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the Latin Mass Catholics that are more conservative. It's interesting because the Latin Mass Catholics are the ones that are more,
of course,
very, very similar to a Protestant Christian. Like,
exactly.
They read scripture. When you have conversations with them, you don't even really know they're Catholic. It's kind of like, well, you're Catholic, bro? I could have sworn I'm talking to a Christian that reads the Bible.
Bro, 100%. I mean, think about it. Even from that movement, there's a charismatic movement, bro. They're Catholics, but now they don't do the catechism stuff. They don't baptize in water their kids, right?
Which is interesting because the Catholic Church's big argument is that they're one church, but yet they have their own little denominations within the church. But anyways, we don't want to go to that. My point I want to make here is just that I'm passionate about this because the Pope, the position of the Pope historically has had a lot of influence. And for all religions, there is no other religion who has a figure like that. Like we mentioned, you did have Billy Graham, and Billy Graham was a great man, but he himself did. Yes, he advised presidents and met with world leaders, but I don't think he had the kind of influence and the same platform that the Pope position has had historically. And this is why they've been able to get away with this, because as soon as they got Francis in, who's is a Marxist radical, they've been able to get away with, abortion, the whole abortion laws and same-sex marriage, and all of this wildness there, because before that you weren't having it. So we talked about it in the last episode more. Don't want to beat that dead horse, but I just want to explain why this drives me, why I get so heated about it, because I just kind of felt like, man, we need that position to come back to true Christianity, if you will, right? To truth. So, yeah, that's what we leave that.
Bro, talking about truth and reality, bro, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but California, bro, is at it again in a sense where, I don't know if you heard the story, but Caltrans is working on a pilot program, right? The pilot program is to, right now they're going to build people, right? So they're going to test out a pilot program. You guys know that during the last couple of years here in California, not only are people leaving California in droves, right? But a lot of them are purchasing electrical vehicles, right? So with that said, with the electrical being cheaper, well, California, especially Caltrans, especially the pretty much the division which helps the road, they have felt a huge drag on the amount of money that has been put back into the division. For example, they made a loss in the beginning first year of $2 to $3 billion a year, right? Now on the third year, after the implementation of electrical bills and vehicles, now they're starting to see that they're ramping up to $4 billion a year in annual growth, that they should be making out of the gas industry, right? And those people that have gas jugglers like myself, we are already paying a tax, right? Every time we go into the pump. For example, every time I go into the pump for myself, I'm paying $1.16, a gallon, extra
in taxes.
You know what I mean? So that's why you're seeing $2 and something in California higher than, example, Arizona, Nevada, or even that other states. But the problem is that these people, the lack of, why implement it so bad now? People are not buying, right? People are buying cars. You wanted them to buy cars, right?
Yep.
And now they're buying cars, and now it's affecting you where? In the pocket.
Yep.
And now since it's affecting you in the pocket, guess what happens? They're out screaming that, that they're going to, at one point or another, California Road and Network says it costs approximately, here, let me share with you the constant. It says California launching a pilot, right, program to charge drivers for miles driven. Okay. So what does that mean? Every time you drive a vehicle, right, in California, right, because of the situation with the EV market, right, they just took off. Now people are seeing that it's cheaper, right? I mean, I can charge my vehicle for $23 a month, opposed to paying $200 and some dollars towards fuel, right?
Yeah. So
what's going on now? They're starting to see, ouch, it's hurting us. Not only the amount of people that are leaving, but now it's hurting us up to, it could come up to $8 billion. It says right here. Look, Lauren Fonda, who's the spokesperson, told news. Let me see if we have a video here. Oh yeah, we do. You guys want to check out the video?
Yeah, let's play the video.
Let's play the video. Check it out. Sorry about that. Hold on. Let me make sure the
Oh, we got an ad playing?
We got the ad claim.
That's all good. Well, so I just want to remember, man, for those of you that aren't in California and are like, well, that's California politics, understand, guys.
No, it still affects you.
We're the testing ground for all these type of policies. So once they get away with it here and it's implemented, it's going to spread to your state.
Okay? Well, it's already spreading. Think about it. The tax that affects Californians also affects Nevadans and Arizonans.
Yeah.
So because the tax, everything that gets produced and it comes in through California or it gets out of California through California, it gets taxed. So you're already feeling, some people in Nevada are already feeling the pinch.
Yeah, I'm just making the point that if you're listening here to this podcast, if you're one of the 25 viewers
81
or 81, yeah, so share, subscribe, all that stuff, guys, help us out. But if you're from out of state, and you're like, whatever, it's gonna come to you guys.
You voted for him, right?
And the thing is that if you're from California, I've mentioned this before. If you remember all those commercials, guys, look at the roads right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, they haven't done anything with this money. You have not seen anything gone down. Anything. I mean, they were scaring you that the ambulance wouldn't get to you on time if you didn't pass this gas tax because the road would be too messed up. But let's go ahead and play the video. You got it ready?
Yep, ready.
All right, let's roll.
Let's do it.
Tax revenue, but that's dwindling with the increase of the number of electric vehicles. And now a new pilot program aims to charge drivers for using the roads based on how much they actually drive. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has the details.
When you see crowded streets and freeways, it should come as no surprise. California has more than 30 million registered passenger vehicles, more than any other state.
That's why you see so much wear continually on our roads and state highways, because they're being used so much.
Caltrans spokesperson Lauren Prihoda says maintaining our roadways costs around $8 billion to $9 billion a year. Most of that money coming from this. Gas taxes motorists pay each time they fill up their tanks. But with more than 1 million hybrid and electric cars already in California, the state is collecting less and less each year in gas tax.
Californians pay about $300 a year in state gas taxes.
$300 a year.
EVs have a $100 registration fee. That's a $200 million a year loss.
Well, Caltrans thinks its California Road Charge program may be able to bridge that growing gap. It would do away with the taxes we pay at the pump and instead tax Californians on every mile that they drive. Caltrans' 6-month pilot program will start in June. Volunteers can sign up to have their miles tracked and make some extra cash.
You can earn up to $400 in incentives.
Now, to track your miles, you could plug a tracking device into your car, but if that's a little too big brotherish for you, you could also just take a picture of your odometer.
Everyone has different levels of comfort when we're managing our data between efficiency and privacy. And that's why it's really important to have options from low tech to high tech.
Oh man, stop
my
this craziness.
God, bro. I mean,
So guys, this is the thing. Sorry, Alfred, because this one's got me. So man, this is how arrogant these people are. It's like their money,
right?
You know, $300 a year for some people would say that's not a lot. It's $300 a year, guys. That's a lot of money. I mean, how much does it take some people to make $300 a year? Then you have these guys talking about, living wages, right? We need to raise the minimum wage so that people can have a living wage. Well, how about we notice they never proposed making living less expensive.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Hey, and also on that thing, bro, I got the thing right here. I got the art. It says in that portion that if you drive a vehicle, for example, they will bill you. So here, this portion where it says it says right here, for every 1,000 miles, let's say I have a 2023 Honda Pilot, right? I drive 1,000 miles per month. You know, let's say the road charge will be between $30 to $40, right? Think about it, okay? Currently, I pay $27 every time I fill up. So I'm paying $50, right? Let's say 50-some dollars, right? But this year, supposedly they're saying that it could be between 20. If we agree with it, they bill us by mile. Not only are we paying, and they subsidize. Since when have you seen California do this, giving you money back?
Yeah, no, and it's man, the guys. So we pay registration.
Yep.
Already. Where does that money go?
Exactly.
When you pay your registration every year, which went up a couple years ago, look at how much it costs you now to register your vehicle. It's absurd the amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. Where is that money going? I can tell you where some of it's going. I know this for a fact. Some of it's going to pay for mental health.
Exactly.
What does that have to do with roads? So when car registration was sold to you, do this with everything, guys. They did it with Social Security, which supposedly is supposed to be in a piggy bank somewhere where they're not supposed to be able to touch that money, but it's not true. And Alfred, before I forget, go on YouTube real quick and look up this video. Just search like video of cost of firing weapons.
Oh, okay.
Can you cue that up? Because this is kind of a video that I saw that that's pretty crazy.
You said
it'll. Yeah, just like type in, or just go on YouTube and just put in like cost of firing weapons.
Okay.
And then there should be a video, like a short. You know those short videos they put up?
Yep.
And it'll have like it'll be. Let me see if I can show this to you. Bear with us here, people. This was last minute audible because I saw this. It looks like this. Look, Alfred. Look at my phone. Look for that video.
What does it look like? Oh, it looks like a boat.
Yeah, it's like a boat. It's a video of weapons being fired off a ship.
Okay, gotcha.
And then it has like a dollar amount on top.
All right, here we got multiple.
It'll be on a short.
Oh, it's on a short. Okay, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah. So, or you look.
I'm there. I'm looking at the. I'm looking at old U.S. military camp replaced.
So I put in video of cost.
Oh, video. Okay.
Of firing weapons. Video of cost of firing weapons.
Okay.
And then when you search it, this will be worth it, guys, because it's gonna blow your mind. And then I get this. I get like a short. Let me know when you get to it. But
the cost of war.
Yeah. Do you see one? It'll show. Like, can you want to take my phone so you can see what it looks like and compare?
Yeah,
so right, the video on the top, the pane on the top left.
Oh, got you. Okay. So,
okay. So yeah. So what I wanted to say is that you know so that like your car registration, when you pay those fees, that goes to mental health, and I know this because my wife works in that department, and so their funding is reliant on car registration. A lot of social programs are funded through that registration fees that you're paying every month here in California. So what are we paying for that we don't need? Right? You know, what are we spending money on? What can we cut? But they won't do it. They won't cut. They're not willing to tell someone that they're going to get less food stamps, or that, you know, we're no longer, you know, like the Obama phones. Can we cut those? Can we not give homeless people cell phones anymore? We can't afford it. You know, why are we proposing charging people I think that the article was saying anywhere from $3 to $5 per mile. And did you find it, Alfred?
Yeah, I'm looking. Hold on.
Okay.
I found something similar, but hold on.
Yeah, it'll show every time they shoot a weapon, and it gives you the dollar amount of what that just cost.
It's this guy, MK50. Hold on. It comes out to.
Should I just send it to that phone and then you can just play it?
Hold on.
If I share it with you?
Yeah, send it over to this number here.
Or just send it to yourself from there. Can you do it? Is it a different number?
Yeah, it is a different number.
Okay. Yeah, just send it to yourself. Yeah, so sorry guys. I really want to show this because it's crazy, this video that I want to see if we can put up, because it just goes to show how money just flies out the window, man. And if you're not able to do it, Alfred, it's all good, bro.
I found somebody, but someone's talking.
No, yeah, it's just a.
Who is it? Who is it from? Let me see if I can get the user. Oh, next level 22.8. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, or can I just put my phone on the camera and just play it that way?
I think it's better.
Huh?
I think it's better.
All right.
Here.
Let's do it that way.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. So I know this is a little bit different, guys, but I saw this today. I don't know. Does that capture it right there?
Let me see.
So I'm gonna put this
Sure.
this video up. Let me see. I'm trying to. Somebody put this short up. Oh, hold on a second. Hopefully y'all can see it. But it's there. You see the little ticker on top? Look at those dollar amounts. Do you see it, Alfred?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
This is our taxpayer dollars right here. This is just one boat. I mean, look at the numbers on there. It's on the loop. Look at the money being spent every time a weapon gets fired. It's insane, right? So I just wanted to show that because, again, we're getting tax to death, man. We're money is not spent wisely. You know what I mean, Alfred?
Yep.
So yeah, we don't got to look for it. I wanted to show it next time. We'll plan better. But yeah, and the other thing is, you know, like they mentioned there, how are you going to track all this?
Well,
Are you going to let them check your miles on your car?
Well, one of the things that they're offering is like, hey, look, you're gonna get a transponder, and it's almost gonna be like what you do with, when you take the 91, right, and you go over there and you get the toll road. It's gonna be like that. They're gonna track you that way, but you have to pay for the transponder. Okay, not only do you have to pay for the transponder, but you would also actually still pay the 3 cents a mile. Okay, so think at the end of the day, for some of us, think about you're a driver, bro.
Yeah.
You're a tow truck driver, right? I don't have to pay no diggity squat right now just to pay the gas. I'm already paying for it out of my pocket for my business, right? Now I need to add an extra incentive to where I'm delivering my product, right? If I'm a driver.
Yeah.
Think about a Uber driver. Where do you think they're gonna sell? Where you're an Uber driver, right? Who are you gonna bill your 3 cents extra to? Me, the consumer, right? Think about it. Guess what's going to happen with the pizza, right? Delivery, the product, right? All of this, bro, what they're creating is just creating a cluster. I'm sorry for the word, but cluster gang. And bro, they really don't care. It's like you're seeing this thing and they're a pilot for 6 months. We're going to build them and we're going to see what happens. And at the end of the day, you're going to save, supposedly, you're paying $27. I don't see it, right? I still got to pay the $1.18 or the $1.19 at the pump, regardless. You know what I mean?
The way they're going to sell this, Alfred, is they're going to say, this is how they're going to do it. I bet you they're going to say something like, it's not fair that they're always going to turn this into, because they got to convince people to do this, right? So the old tactics is going to be poor versus rich, okay? So they're going to have to go over sell the people on the,
I found the video.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could put it on here a little bit, but go ahead and play it just in case we didn't see it. But check out. Hopefully you guys can see this a little better here. But check this out, guys. Look at this. Are you want to make it bigger?
Let me see if I can make it bigger. Give me one.
Wow, that's my. Look at Bruno. Wow, that's my budget food for the week right here.
Hold my beer.
Now it's on a short. There you go.
It's crazy. What is that, like 11 million? I can't see the number 800, just that one shot.
Yep. For every bullet, it's
looping.
70. It's looping. All right.
It's looping.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. I saw that earlier today, and I was like, man, that's pretty slick. That person who put that.
Whoever
I mean,
put that there,
and who knows how accurate those numbers are, But I mean, let's just say there were half.
Golly, bro.
Half that amount.
11,800,000 on a tomahawk, and just to be, I'm just testing it out.
Yeah. I know it's a little bit off subject, but I watched that earlier and I was dude, I got to show this video, man.
It makes me think this is what they want, bro. But this is what they're hustling people. Not only are we paying high inflation, high gas, high food, now they want to go after our vehicles, bro. Like, come on, they want to go after gas, even though we already pay more gas.
Oh yeah. So this is how they're gonna sell it. They're gonna put out commercials saying that the rich people that can afford electric vehicles are getting away with not paying a tax.
God.
So we need to go after that, and they need to pay their fair share. This is how they're gonna sell it to people, and they're gonna fall for it. You're gonna fall for it again, Californians. This works every time. I guarantee it. This is what they're gonna do, because you got to be able to convince people, and you can't just come out, Alfred, and say, hey, we're losing revenue. Which is the truth. We're not able to continue to fund all of these programs that we promised you.
But this is all you. This was all you. You wanted people to buy electric vehicles because
you did such a great job of convincing people that it's a problem now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now look at it. Now it hits you. Now it's like, oh, wait a minute. Not only did we force them to pay $60,000, $70,000 a year on an electrical vehicle, right?
More expensive vehicle.
They're more expensive vehicle, right? That's going to help supposedly the environment, which it does more harm at the end of the day.
Yep.
And now you look back at the pockets and the books and you say, wait a minute, where are we Why are we having not a lot of money coming in to help the roads?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is, you created this. This is your policies.
Yeah.
And now here you are again, ringing the sirens, right? Saying,
Yep.
hey guys, a little help here, right?
Yep.
And how are we going to get this money out of the hardworking Americans?
Yep. And
Or
in
even
California,
Californians.
we're not giving the choice. What is it? 2030, we have to have all electric. So
Yeah.
But so they'll have to hustle up, and while people are that narrative will still work, they're gonna have to come out with some ad campaign demonizing people who have electric vehicles as rich. They're the rich people, and they're not paying their fair share. Okay.
That's what's going to happen.
Right.
That is exactly what you're saying. Hey, listen. This is over the last 3 years, bro. We've been speaking facts here. We've been saying, look, guys, this is exactly what's going to happen. And look, sure enough, right?
Right.
Open borders. Hey, guys, we're going to have trafficking. We're going to have all these issues. We're going to have gangs that are going to come over here, right? You're going to hear Donald Trump saying, hey, bad hombres, right? You know what I mean? And then here he is showing you the receipts, telling you this is what's happening, right? And look what's happening.
Yep.
Vaccines, all these issues. Come on, it's stuff that we talk here. We just want you to think something different. Golly. You know what I mean? We want you to see these things. But you're right. You're right, Isaac. People are going to come back to, California. It's going to come back to the voters. And guess what? Since a lot of them have been so much pre-programmed or reprogrammed or very easily manipulated, what's going to happen? They're going to prove this nonsense.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're going to jump in another boat where we're paying a lot more. And then this lady by the last name of Rana is gonna get a bonus, right? Because she accomplished what she needed. All I needed to go in a couple of use the news so I can get this approved to the voters. And guess what happens? In a year, boom, she gets quit. She gets let go. She leaves with the fat bonus.
Yeah.
And you and I are stuck paying the bill here.
Yeah, and any politician that comes out, which typically is a conservative, that comes out and runs for office promising you, well, we don't promise, they don't promise you things. That's why it's so hard for them to get elected. But if they come out and say, we're going to fight back against, I'm not going to pass this tax, right? Instead, we're going to cut spending so that we don't have to do this anymore. You're not going to vote for that guy.
Of course
you're not going to vote for him. The guy or woman that comes out to try to protect you against this kind of stuff, you're not going to vote for them because you're going to fall for the narrative that they are an evil, they hate poor people, and they're protecting the rich people that drive electric vehicles, and they don't want them to pay their fair share. You're going to fall for it. Okay, this is what's going to happen. This is why it's so difficult for conservatives to come into office in anywhere, but especially here in California.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So people don't recognize.
No, bro. I mean, bro, think about it. That's why we get the bad end of the stick all the time, bro. We're like, dude, come on. And these people, a lot of them are still not even working, bro. They're still collecting checks and getting Bidenomics, to help in on their mortgage, or even that to help him on their student loans. Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It affects the hardworking America or the hardworking people of California. But yet again, Californians are going to stick with it, and they're just going to eat it like they always do.
Yeah.
Right? $25 billion that get lost in the homelessness, right? They can't even account for. And here we are again. $18 billion that got snuck in, that wants to get snuck in on bills that are outrageous, for California. And we're just going to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just going to eat it.
Yeah.
Because of the rest of you freaking morons. And I'm sorry to say it, but.
Yeah. And the thing is that these electric vehicles are actually heavier than regular cars. So they actually damage the road a lot more.
Right.
So it's, it perpetuates itself because now our roads are going to need more repairs more often as we get more electric vehicles on the road.
100%, man.
It's crazy. Right?
It's wild, man. Hey, listen, man, we did it. An hour and 48 minutes on this conversations, bro.
Yeah.
But guess what, bro? This is what we're here to do, man. We love it. Unrestrained podcast. I know some of you are not used to the long conversations.
The long formats.
But listen, we go straight to the point. We just talk about these topics. We were able to touch on 4, bro, today.
Yeah. And there's a lot more to talk about. $25 minimum wage. Gavin Newsom's freaking out. So, yeah, there was a lot going on, guys. And it's, You know, for those of you that don't live in California, we're trying to warn you guys. You know,
Don't California, my Arizona or Nevada. Come on, guys, get on the road and just start voting for people consciously. We're stuck over here. We're just echoing from California and saying, don't vote for them.
Yeah, don't support those policies because we're the proving ground for this stuff. And as soon as they're successful here, it gets rolled out nationwide. So
that's what
you know. Hopefully that helps you kind of identify some of the policies once they come your way, because they will come up on your ballot. It will get proposed in your state. And yeah, we're just trying to give you guys a heads up. You know.
Awesome. Yes, man. Hey, guys. Well, thank you so much, man, for sticking with us. We appreciate your time, man. Thank you for just handling the 2 hours here. But listen, we'll wait for you guys every Tuesdays. You know, we're doing this. This actually gets launched every Wednesdays, right? Actually, it gets launched every Tuesdays, right after we're done, bro. We're like, boom, we get it out there, right?
Yep.
Because we want to get it out to you as soon as possible. But stick with us every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. If you missed the pre-recorded, don't worry. Continue to stay in tune with us. And we're just bringing you all this stuff that probably you heard it or you've seen it and you're constantly want to talk about it. Well, join us. We're willing to come in. Leave us a message so we know we're reaching the right crowd. And, you know, at least we're not, you know, speaking to, you know, empty rooms.
Yep.
So post your message. Let us know you're there just so we know. But at the same time, man, we'll see you here every Tuesday, 7 p.m., man. Thank you so much, Isaac, for coming along, bro. Sticking with us. We'll see each other next week. And thank you and God bless you.
All right.
Take care.